What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. Today I'll be talking about some potential teams that could join the NASCAR Cup Series in the future. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. So there's been a lot of talk over the course of the last couple years about some organizations and some teams that have shown some interest in maybe going to the NASCAR Cup Series. Today I'm going to talk about all those teams who I feel like have an outside chance and a really good opportunity to join the NASCAR Cup Series in the future. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first team we're talking about today is Junior Motorsports. Junior Motorsports has been the big rumor organization really since about 2021 on potentially moving up the Cup. Since Josh Frey picked up his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series win at Martinsville, since that press conference happened after he won, we have all been saying that Junior Motorsports can or could potentially make it up to Cup. But Dale Jr. and Kelly Earnhardt Miller have said publicly that the price needs to be right for this to happen. Now, very recently, in the last couple of months, there have been some outside chance and possibility where Dale Jr. could have gotten some investors in, considering NASCAR is talking to maybe some funds coming into play for the new charter agreement that just got announced very recently. There could be some funds that could come in the window, which could lead Junior Motorsports potentially moving into Cup. No, I don't think that Junior Motorsports, if they do go Cup Series racing, are fully going to go outright and basically buy a charter and run their own thing. I think they're going to get like a fund to help them out, like a mortgage fund or something like that to really help out their program. Maybe like the Guggenheim brand. Maybe the Steinbrenners who own the New York Yankees, considering the Yankees have, and Dale Jr. apparently had interest a few years ago of potentially coming in. I think that could be an outside gateway possibility for Junior Motorsports to maybe make their way into Cup. Do I think there's a chance they come in 2026? I think it's certainly possible. I'm probably going to give this 60 to 40 currently at the moment. I'm going to lean more that they could come in than not come in, but it's kind of like also that I will believe it when I see it at this point. But I think there's a really great chance and possibility that if the things can be timed right and things can be accurate and all that kind of stuff, they could lead Junior Motorsports to moving up. Now, what drivers could join the team? Maybe Connor Zilisch, perhaps. Maybe Justin Allgaier. Maybe Carson Quaffle. Maybe Sammy Smith. Maybe a Kyle Weatherman, perhaps. That could certainly be a possibility, too, with him working with the Hendrick Group. Maybe Anthony Alfredo, too, who's been doing the sim work for them. That could be also certainly a possibility. But I think there's a good chance that Junior Motorsports can make the move up. I think Rick Hendrick would have to take off his name on the ownership side of things, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue for Rick Hendrick. I think there's a good chance that we could see this team make the jump up in the near future. The second team that could join the NASCAR Cup Series in the future is Andretti Global. Now, Andretti Global has been rumored over the course of really the last 2 to 3 years, really for the last 10 or 11 years at this point, about joining Cup. Back in 2013, they've been planning to come into NASCAR with Dodge, with the new Gen 6 car, because Dodge actually had revealed a Gen 6 car. While Penske was going to leave, Andretti Global, which is Andretti Autosport at the time, they were very likely going to be sticking around for 2013. And originally, they were going to be a 2-car program for Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth as well. Now, unfortunately, that fell through. There was an outside chance in 2018 they could come in and maybe partner up with the Petty Group, but that did not end up happening. But now over the last year or so, there's been a lot more talk and conversations surrounding it. Now, how can Andretti Global get in? Well, I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to come in fully as their own thing. They could come in with Spire Motorsports. Andretti Global and Spire have something in common. Gamebridge. Gamebridge has a major partnership work currently at the moment with Gamebridge, and they're funding out quite a bit. In fact, TWG Global is owned by Dan Towers, who is the owner, of course, of Andretti Global, but also owns things like Wayne Taylor Racing as well. I do believe that Gamebridge has a really good chance and possibility with the funding they get that could lead Andretti coming in as a whole in a major possibility, which I think a lot of people like myself would love to see the Andretti family come into NASCAR as a whole. And I think there's a really good chance and a strong possibility that this does end up happening. Now, what drivers could they get to be part of this program? Colin Herta, if he doesn't end up going to Formula 1 with Cadillac, even though I think that's strongly likely. Maybe Marcus Ericsson, perhaps. Maybe some of the up-and-coming development drivers like a Jamie Chadwick, perhaps. That could certainly be a possibility, even though I don't think she's going to be Andretti next year. But I think Andretti Global, there's certainly a really good chance and possibility for something like this to happen. And I think that them coming to NASCAR would be really, really huge for the sport. If they do end up coming to sport in the not-so-distant future, I think more than likely it's going to come with Spire Motorsports and partnering up with them in the future. The third team that could join the NASCAR Cup Series in the future is Action Express Racing. Now, Action Express Racing, we're talking about them because there have been some outside rumors about Action Express coming in over the course of the last year or so. A lot of that has to do with the charter agreement. Well, why do I think that? Well, because Jim France is an owner of Action Express Racing. And they said they would like to bring one of their own organizations and maybe buy up a charter themselves to see the funds and all that kind of stuff. Action Express Racing has had a lot of success in the IMSA world. They won multiple IMSA championships with Gary Nelson managing it. And they've had a lot of success as a whole, as an organization, over in IMSA. And they've also won some pretty big events. They, of course, won the Rolex 24, I think, a couple of years ago. And they won some other major events throughout the history of their organization as well. I think a team like that would be really, really huge for the, well, not probably be huge. I think most people would not be massive fans of a team like Action Express Racing coming into the sport. But I think at the end of the day, it would be pretty huge. You can get someone like I don't think Pippo Durrani's going back there next year, but you can get someone in that program who's really talented, like a Sebastian Bourdais, who thinks driven for Action Express Racing in the past. That could lead to him getting a chance and possibility as well. But I certainly think there's a good chance you could see a team like Action Express Racing come into play. We might see them get that opportunity to potentially make their jump up. I think that's a team to definitely watch out for in the future when it comes to teams that could join the Cup Series. The next team that could join the Cup Series in the not-so-distant future is Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, Chip Ganassi Racing has a lot of history in NASCAR. They were in the NASCAR Cup Series from 2001 up until the end of 2021 when they sold their stake off to Trackhouse Racing. They had quite a bit of success. They were pretty competitive with Sterling Marlin in 2001, won a couple races in the 2001 year, and then in 2002, they picked up 1 or 2 wins with Sterling Marlin. Then they've been kind of mediocre at times, but they've shown some stuff with Jamie McMurray, won a Daytona 500 for them, and also Brickyard 400. And then, of course, you have Kyle Larson, who picked up 5 or 6 victories with Chip Ganassi Racing as a whole. Now, how could Chip Ganassi Racing find their way into NASCAR? Very simple. Honda. There's been a lot of talk and conversation about Honda coming into the sport. And we know Chip Ganassi Racing has a major partnership with Honda currently at the moment. That's one of the reasons why they left NASCAR, I think, originally, was because of their Honda partnership they really ended up having. And I do believe that Honda, basically, like I said, because it's been rumored they could potentially come in, I think having Honda be part of the sport would definitely be really, really huge as a third manufacturer. And I think that would definitely be the gateway for Chip Ganassi Racing to potentially make that jump in. I think most people would love to see an organization like Chip Ganassi Racing come back to the sport. And I think there's a good chance it could happen in 2027. Because I don't think we're going to get a new manufacturer till the 2027 season. But at the end of the day, I do think we are, like I said, eventually going to get a new manufacturer in NASCAR. And I think that's going to be the only major way we see a team like Chip Ganassi Racing make their way back in. I think there's a good chance it does end up happening if they can get that new manufacturer like Honda or even Hyundai as well at this point could lead them to coming back in. I think Chip Ganassi has had interest in the past, I'm pretty sure. So maybe after a couple year hiatus, we could see an organization like Chip Ganassi Racing come back, maybe make a potential return and show their program back up in NASCAR, in Cup, Xfinity, and maybe even the Truck Series as well. The next team that could join the NASCAR Cup Series in the future is Niece Motorsports. Now, Niece Motorsports, there were rumors a few years ago, all the way back, I believe, the 2021 or 2022, they were likely going to be moving up to the Cup Series and maybe making some starts with Carson Hocevar at the time, because Carson Hocevar at the time, I believe, had just turned 18 years old and was running full-time for Niece Motorsports in the Craftsman Truck Series. They really believed in Carson Hocevar's talent, and you look at how Carson Hocevar performed with Spire this year, can't blame them for wanting to move him up very, very quickly. I think there's a good chance this team will move up in the next few years. The problem is their truck organization is not as strong as it used to be. A few years ago when Carson Hocevar was basically in that team, they actually were performing a lot better, and you had guys like Ross Chastain and Carson Hocevar being outside championship contenders. Since then, they've been a little bit hit or miss at times. Matt Mills kind of struggled in the 42 truck this past year, so that would hurt their chances of making the move. Now, if they do decide to move up the Cup, what drivers could they end up having? Well, it'd probably be someone in that pipeline, like not a Carson Hocevar, like a Matt Mills perhaps, someone like that. I think they'd be partnered up with RCR as well, or Trackhouse Racing, considering they do have a pretty good working relationship with Trackhouse, especially Ross Chastain driving for them. I certainly think that could be a pretty big possibility as well with 4 Wide Express, especially being interested too. But I think there's a really good chance, and possibly if things can get worked out and sorted out, that I definitely could see Niece Motorsports maybe making their jump up the Cup in the future. Maybe even Xfinity. I think they ran an Xfinity Series start many years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think it'd be pretty cool if Nice Motorsports get that chance and opportunity, and I certainly think we could see them maybe make the jump up in the future with maybe Chevrolet power going into the future in the NASCAR Cup Series. The next team that could join the Cup Series in the future is Sam Hunt Racing. Now, Sam Hunt Racing is a team that I think is one of those teams that's the next step away from really becoming a superpower in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They have shown a ton of potential over the course of the last couple of years. They still have not won a race at this time, but they've been very, very close to drivers like Sage Karam, and also even Corey Heim and a few other drivers like John Hunter Nemechek as well, and Tyler Reddick, especially in the Toyota program. Now, why do I say they could move up? Well, I think there's an outside chance we may see them maybe move up the Cup this year and run the Daytona 500. Mark Truex Jr. was supposed to run the Daytona 500 with 2311 Racing for 2025. Unfortunately, because of the lawsuit going on between Front Row and 2311 and NASCAR at the moment right now, I think that's a big reason why they haven't been able to make the decision to move up at this time. But I really do believe that, especially with the development contract and all the stuff that Toyota is doing, I think Toyota definitely would like to have more power and more numbers in there. Now, do I think if they move up, they're going to get a charter initially? Probably not at this point, right? I don't think anybody would really expect that, but I think many people like to see Sam Hunt Racing move up. And it could lead to a driver like Corey Heim perhaps in the future. If he can't go to teams like 2311 or Legacy with those contracts being set for the future, I could see it leading to an opportunity for a driver like Corey Heim or even Parker Reslap perhaps getting a chance and opportunity to drive for a pretty solid and decent team like Sam Hunt Racing. I think there's a chance this does end up happening, and I could see Sam Hunt Racing maybe in the future running in the Cup Series not too far down the road. And finally, the last team we're talking about today is 3F Racing. Now, 3F Racing, over the last couple of years, they've been rumored to be joining Cup. There was a lot of talk they could even join for 2023 and 2024. Now, 3F Racing, unlike some organizations that say they're going to show up, they're a very legit organization. They currently compete in the NASCAR Euro Series, and I got to say with Ryan Vargas, they've shown a lot of potential. Ryan Vargas had a couple top 10s with them, and even a couple podiums, and has competed for a few wins as well in the NASCAR Euro Series, in the secondary series, which is super, super impressive. Now, I think if they do show up, they're only going to be a part-time organization, most likely with Ryan Vargas, perhaps. I know Ryan's a solid driver, not a great driver, but he's a very solid driver, all things considered. He'd be a decent driver to go up, but he's also like their development guy, too. They get someone from Europe, perhaps, to come over and race, considering 3F Racing is from Germany. Maybe they go after someone who is one of those drivers that are from a different country. That could certainly be a possibility down the road as well. And I think it'd be cool for 3F to get that chance to see if they could join the Cup Series maybe down the road. So, those are the teams that I see that could join the Cup Series in the next 5 years. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so that if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. What teams do you think have a chance to join the Cup Series? Do you think there won't be any teams to join the Cup Series in the future? And let me know what teams you think could have a chance. Let me know them in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we'll have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. Tuesday, I'm either going to have a silly season update, or I'm probably going to be releasing the RFK Racing preview on the channel. Then Wednesday, should have a NASCAR news video dropping. If there's any major news that breaks throughout the next couple days on people maybe like Connor Zillage, Haley Deegan, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, all those people, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, you name it, Bubba Wallace too, and the lawsuit as well with Michael Jordan being involved in that. We'll probably discuss that here on the channel too. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.